Can I tell you something that nobody in CX really wants to admit? Your monthly survey, by the time it lands, it's already useless. The customer has moved on, the review's already been written, and that issue you're just finding out about, it's repeated itself across 5 sites, 3 shifts, and a weekend rush you'll never get back. You don't have a feedback problem, you've got a timing problem. And that's what we're fixing today. Hi, I'm Jonny from Serve First, and in this video we're talking about real-time feedback. What it actually means in physical spaces, how to make it work operationally, and how to turn someone tapped unhappy into it's already sorted. Okay, first things first, let's just clear up what real-time feedback actually is. Because I think a lot of people hear real-time and picture some fancy live dashboard with numbers updating every second. That's not it. Real-time feedback is feedback you capture at the point of experience, close enough to the moment that you can still actually change the outcome. Not next week, not after the monthly report, but now. In physical spaces, that usually looks like a quick rating at the exit, checkout or reception, a one-tap response right after an interaction, maybe a short follow-up question if you need a bit more context. And here's why it works so well: honesty. In the moment reactions are way less filtered. Customers don't have to remember how they felt 3 days ago. They just tell you what they feel right now and move on. But speed is only half the story. You also need a system that helps you respond quickly, because honestly, customers care way more about what you do next than what you measure. Real-time feedback isn't live data, it's live action. There's a big difference. So why does delayed feedback cause so many problems? It creates this illusion that you're listening when actually you're just not learning fast enough to do anything useful. And even when you do have data, it's all over the place, right? Surveys in one system, complaints in another, reviews somewhere else. Your team ends up spending all their time figuring out what happened instead of fixing what's happening right now. Delayed feedback makes you reactive. Real-time feedback keeps you in control. Alright, so if you want volume, speed and simplicity in a physical space, feedback terminals are honestly hard to beat. They're built for real-time environments where customers absolutely will not fill out a form, won't scan a lengthy survey, and won't do anything that feels like effort. A feedback terminal gives you one clear question, a fast response, usually just a tap, and an immediate signal you can actually act on. You'll typically see them at store exits, near checkouts, in toilets, reception desks, service counters, and lobbies. The key thing here is placement. You want terminals at a natural pause point, right after the moment you actually want to measure. Get this right and you'll start seeing really clear patterns. Like, oh wow, our scores tank every single Saturday between 1 and 3 p.m, and suddenly you know exactly where to focus. Now, within terminals, a lot of people use smiley face feedback, and it works because it is simple. No one has to think hard, no one has to translate a numerical scale, they just tap what they feel and move on. That's why it performs so well in busy spaces, high volume environments, mixed audiences, anywhere where you've got like 3 seconds to get a response from someone. But here's the honest truth. A smiley scale is a signal, not a diagnosis. It tells you something has changed, it tells you where to look, but it doesn't explain why. That's where smart follow-ups come in. The best setups use a single tap to capture sentiment, then a short follow-up only when someone taps neutral or unhappy. Maybe a lightweight comment if you need more context. Simple, effective, and fast. Okay, this is a bit where most businesses completely throw away all the value they've built up. They capture the tap, they log it, it shows up on a dashboard somewhere, and then absolutely nothing happens until next Tuesday's meeting. That's not real-time feedback, that's real-time data storage, and there's a massive difference. Here's how it should actually work. It's a simple loop, 5 steps. Signal, someone taps unhappy, there's your early warning. Route, the issue goes to the right person fast, not head office, not a group chat of 47 people, the actual owner of the problem. Fix, a practical first action happens within minutes based on a clear playbook so nobody's guessing. Confirm, someone marks it as done, now you've got accountability, not just numbers on a screen. And then learn, you start spotting patterns across locations, shifts, time windows, and prevent the same thing happening again. Quick but important one here, because real-time feedback fails when alerts just become noise. If every tiny dip sends someone a ping, your team will start ignoring the pings, and that's not a people problem, that's a rules problem. So to keep it actually useful, use thresholds, alert on meaningful drops, not every tiny wobble, set clear ownership, one alert, one owner, one next step, not a free-for-all. Build in escalation, If something stays unresolved, it automatically steps up the chain. Protect focus. Not every piece of insight needs a notification. And this goes for how you respond too, by the way. Don't just alert fast, respond well. Make the next steps clear. A thoughtful, targeted response always beats a generic one. The bigger your operation, the faster feedbacks get completely overwhelming. We've all been there. This is where AI actually earns its place, not as a buzzword, but as something genuinely useful. AI does the boring part at speed. So it spots patterns across sites and time periods, identifies what changed and when, highlights what matters most right now, suggests next actions based on your playbooks and standards. This is the difference between here are 10,000 responses, good luck, and here are 3 things to fix today. Done properly, AI doesn't replace your team's judgment, it removes the friction. It's like having a practical assistant who keeps standards on track without turning every manager into a data analyst. Last thing, because people always ask about this, what tools do you actually need? Honestly, the best setup is rarely just one thing. It's a mix where each channel does a specific job. So feedback terminals for fast in-the-moment signals in physical spaces, smiley face feedback for quick sentiment at high volume touch points, QR codes or short links for when somebody wants to give more context, and reviews and surveys for deeper insight and longer term trends. So what to avoid: buying multiple tools that don't talk to each other, collecting feedback with no response process, measuring everything and improving nothing. One connected platform will almost always get you better results than 5 disconnected tools stitched together with hope and spreadsheets. Real-time feedback isn't about seeing problems faster, it's about fixing them faster. When you capture feedback in the moment and get it to the right person with a clear step, you stop guessing, you stop firefighting, you start actually improving on purpose every day across every site. At Serve First, we help businesses go from that insight to that action. Terminals, AI-driven insight, automated workflows, all connected without adding loads of complexity. If you want to see what that looks like for your operation, there's a link in the description to book a demo. And if this was useful, hit subscribe. We're putting out videos on customer experience, operations, and frontline performance every week.